In 1985, Tom Landry was an absolute menace in the blitzing defense.
They outmanned, then overwhelmed the pocket. They all came. Link, Scale, Thurman, Bates, Downs, Fellows, Scott, Rohr, Hegman, and Blockhart.
I think the mad scientist was on overdrive at this point. In the 70s, Landry was the heroic coach who did things the old way. He didn't believe in chaotic defenses, and he wasn't that aggressive at blitzing the quarterback. But in the 80s, he was Landry the Dark Lord.
And now has to go face the wrath of Landry.
The 70s Landry reminds me of Superman. Superman is the greatest hero in all of DC. But what made him great was his morality and his laid-back character. That is exactly what Landry was in the 70s. But the 80s was different. Landry reminded me in the 80s of an evil scientist who wanted nothing but chaos and mayhem. Can you imagine a Superman who was on full assaults without any remorse? There would be no capsule to his power. No limitations, no boundaries. In the 80s, Landry was that version. You have to understand that the 80s was the beginning of the modern day evolution of the passing game. Concepts like the Air Coryell.
When he came to the Cardinals in '73 from San Diego State, he brought with him a passing game that the league had not seen before. And Don Coryell single-handedly opened up the National Football League.
The West Coast offense, the run and shoot offenses of the West.
Ernest Gibbons, he's got him in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Houston.
Landry's shotgun spread. These were concepts that were in the league for years, but the 80s institutionalized it. These concepts became a staple of most teams' offenses. I can picture Landry in some kind of science lab in a cave somewhere, trying to formulate the right formula to deal with the passing offenses. Much like he did in the 50s with his version of the 43 defense.
As we moved into the 60s, the offenses were able to influence the 4-3 and keep us from doing the things we did in the 50s.
And in the 60s with his version of the flex defense to stop Vince Lombardi's run-to-daylight strategy. Landry had to innovate.
Well, the biggest thing that they do is that 4-0 defense that the Cowboys use. You know, that's one where they have 4 defensive linemen, no linebackers, and 7 defensive backs.
He created his version of the blitzing nickel defense. He called it the 40 defense. 4 defensive linemen, but no linebackers. Bill Bates and Michael Downs were the key defenders in this scheme. Over these last few years, I've watched almost every single game of the 80s Dallas Cowboys. And I gotta admit, I felt sorry for some of these quarterbacks. The 80s was already a brutal league, but when Landry came with that 40 defense, it just changed everything. This was a game versus the Packers in 1984.
Now what Forrest Gregg feels is it's not those guys, it's not the quarterback, but doggone it, to throw the ball, you have to protect the quarterback, and his offensive line hasn't been doing the job, and so he's starting 2 new guards today.
Landry dialed up blitzes all evening.
And here comes the blitz by Downs.
To me, although Bates was the GOAT blitzer, outside of Ed Reed, Michael Downs was able to time the snap on a blitz probably better than any defensive back I've ever seen.
At their own 24. Ferragamo saw the blitz. Nevertheless, he found wide receivers wide right. Here comes the blitz. Archer reads.
Just look at the timing and anticipation. He's like a missile beaming through the line of scrimmage.
Jefferson again in motion, and Dickey.
I've never seen anything like it.
Did not touch it. 3rd and 17. Blitz again showing. Dickey by White and Downs again.
He did this all evening.
And front down. Dickey looking it over. But here comes the blitz. Now
Michael Downs really does the job here of timing. Now watch, he's not even in the picture. Now watch, here he comes. See, he just times it so they don't count him. He's not counted. Boom, he just gets there just as Dickey is throwing the ball.
Landry's blitzes eventually took a toll on Len Dickey.
Because you can see what happens. You see they're bringing the whole bunch. They're bringing Clink Scale, they're bringing Downs, they're bringing Thurman, they're bringing Randy White. Now the fans are getting excited. They like that defense.
The Cowboys sacked the Packers quarterbacks 6 times and forced 4 interceptions.
again. Picked off by Anthony Dickerson. Threat for right now is just his presence. Here's Wright. Blitz is on for Dallas. Got to get rid of it. Throws for Epps. Everson Wall.
You know what he was doing, Pat? He was talking to his offense on the sideline, quizzing them about how they pick up the Dallas 4-0 blitzes.
Randy Wright had a passer rating of 2.8. This game was brutal.
2nd and 14. Clark, look out. Play, here's Wright back to throw. Stepping into the pocket, looking. Jeffcoat couldn't throw it. He'll try it again. 3rd, 13. Here comes the blitz. Look out, Randy Wright. He gets away from one, gets away from two. Throws almost picked off.
But I think the most brutal game that I've ever seen concerning the blitzing defense came against the legend Warren Moon and the Oilers in 1985.
Safety blitz threatened by Downs. He's coming. They've got him. No, Moon is not in the grass. Now lobs it out, caught by Moriarty to the 46-yard line.
Now, this was Dark Lord Landry at full display. The Oilers had given up 10 combined sacks in their first 3 games before playing the Cowboys, and Landry smelt blood.
86 has come in, and the Cowboys with 6 defensive backs. 3rd down, 11 with 6:29 to go first quarter. Blitz is coming, and there's a fumble on the play. The ball is still free. The Cowboys, I think, have recovered.
And he sent an aerial assault after Moon that broke the record books.
2:42 to go first quarter. Stunts by the defensive line. Moon is hit and fumbles. The ball is free back at the 7-yard line, and the Oilers have recovered. Cowboys lead 7-0. Victor Scott cuts right through as a quarterback.
Not bad.
Blitz intercepted. Picked off by Ron Fellows. That is the 4th interception by the Cowboys in this football game.
Sack after sack after sack.
By the Cowboys front 4. Here comes Randy White. He's got Moon. Rush coming. They're going to nail him. Head to Paul Jones. Rush is coming nonetheless. And Moon with pressure again. They've got him for the 6th time. All the way back at the 9-yard line. 4. Trailing 7-0. Busted play. He has been sacked 9 times. It's almost as crazy as our game. Here's Moon in trouble.
Landry blitzed cornerbacks, safeties, linebackers. It didn't matter who it was.
2nd and 15. Moon hit from behind.
All day with Bates, 22 and 40.
If you were in the game, you got blitzed.
Cowboys are blitzing. They're sending 5. That's 11 sacks in the game.
Landry didn't just blitz either. He was calculated with his schemes. Sometimes he showed blitzes from one place and then went after Moon somewhere else.
As a quarterback.
Not bad.
Blitz intercepted. Picked off by Ron Fellows. That is the 4th interception by the Cowboys in this football game.
While other times he either showed the blitz but didn't blitz at all.
Now they're faking the blitz. This is where they're playing games with Moon.
First down and 10 from the 20. Moon back. Lets it go into the end zone. Tussle for the ball. Intercept.
Or he showed multiple blitzes but only ended up blitzing one.
Blitz outside.
Moon has been sacked 7 times.
Now they check out of it.
Not this time. Almost picked off.
Sometimes he sent the entire kitchen sink. Moon took rib shots, kidney hits.
That is his first catch as a professional. And Moon really took a shot right at the point of delivery.
Blind shots. It was brutal. At halftime, the commentator suggested that Moon was in danger for his life.
Back in 1966, Terry, the Cowboys sacked a Steeler quarterback 12 times in one game. It wasn't you.
Oh, no.
It wasn't. But they may be endangering Warren Moon's life in this first half.
For those of you sitting at home and saying, well, this job is easy, and these guys right here playing, boy, I believe I could do that, but you see the pounding that Moon has taken today and the many looks that the Cowboys have given him to confuse him with the sacks and the blitzes, and then you have a different perspective of the job the man's trying to get done.
There is Warren Moon. Been a long, long afternoon.
Honestly, I felt bad for Moon. He looked absolutely demoralizing on that sideline.
Second half, Vern Lundquist and Terry Bradshaw. Warren Moon, a battle-wearied Warren Moon.
Dallas ended the night with 12 sacks, a team record. He blitzed Moon over 18 times. These are examples of how vicious Landry's 40 defense, or just his blitzing defense, was. And there were more games like this. A lot more. The 40 defense was so effective that it accumulated over 443 sacks from 1980 to 1988. They were in the top 6 in sacks for 7 straight seasons. They had 6 top 5 sack seasons in 7 years. From 1981 to 1988, Landry steadily increased his obsession with the blitzing defense to extreme highs as the years went by. In 1981, Dallas had 9 non-defensive lineman sacks. 1982, 10 sacks. 1983, 14 sacks. 1984, 18 sacks. 1985, 18 sacks. 86, 14 sacks. 87, 18 sacks. And in 88, 14 sacks. Landry blitzed for 115 sacks in a span of 8 seasons. One of those seasons runs even a full season, while another one was a season full of scabs due to all of the strikes that the league was going through. Landry blitzed the secondary so much in those seasons that they had 46 sacks. 46 sacks coming from the secondary alone is crazy work.
It was here that the Cowboys refined the aggressive design for their defense.
They had 31 sacks in just 4 years.
A scheme of blitzes that stacked the odds in their favor.
That's unheard of. That's 8 sacks per season coming just from the secondary. In 1984, they had 11 secondary sacks. Landry was so brilliant in his analytics that he single-handedly picked ball hawks to eat off those sacks and pressures. He didn't just want good players in the secondary. He wanted hawks who went after passes like food in the heavens.
The reason that we're able to blitz as much as we do, one of the reasons is because everybody in our secondary can play man-to-man. You know, if you're afraid of man-to-man coverage, well, you're awfully hesitant to call the blitz, because that forces everybody who's left to cover somebody about themselves.
If he was going to blitz the way that he did, he needed playmakers.
And Hart gets it away. Intercepted. Dennis Thurman at the 40.
Montgomery, the throw.
What's interesting is that finally, I think they've come up with a great cornerback. Through all the years of Dallas excellence, as we look at the end zone replay, the only great cornerback they had was Renfro. Adderley came late in the game to Green Bay, but look at this kid with a nose for the football, and he may be the answer.
They've got 2 to go. Craig unloading. Michael down.
All of that pressure, not even counting quarterback pressures, created one of the most dominant secondaries in NFL history in terms of interceptions. From 1981 to 1988, the Cowboys had over 173 interceptions. They led the league in interceptions in 1981. That season, they had 2 defensive backs in the top 4 in interceptions. The great Everson Walls led the league with 11 interceptions. That was his rookie season. Dennis Thurman had 9 interceptions, which was tied for 3rd in the league that year. They essentially had 3 top 12 defensive backs in interceptions that year. They were top 6 in interceptions for 5 seasons. Those defenses had the only cornerback in NFL history who won 3 interception titles in a career. Look, I get it. They didn't win a Super Bowl, but that team went to 3 consecutive NFC championship games.
Boy, here's the 1-2 punch that did it late in the ball game. Danny White taking the club about 60 yards, and he had to win it.
They were only a horse collar tackle away from playing in their 3rd Super Bowl in 5 years. They played against 2 of the greatest teams in NFL history.
The question, your 3rd consecutive NFC championship game, do you feel any additional pressure coming in this game?
They played in the NFC East in the 80s, the greatest conference the league has ever seen. So I get it. I don't think a lot of teams would have won the Super Bowl either. Yet Landry's teams were still elite and competed for championships. Until next time, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, thanks for watching.